Hi everybody and welcome back to our lessons on the strange case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, and this is lesson 5. Little quick quiz activity for you here. Can you match the right character with the correct description? And these are all characters that we have met now in the novella. And our word for today is the noun duality, which is that quality of being dual. So where you have more than one. And again, there's some synonyms there at the bottom. So see if you can work one of those words into your work today, just to boost that vocabulary. Now, we are going to focus on the character of Jekyll today, but before we come to him, I want to really focus on this will. So the will Mr. Utterson tells you Jekyll made holograph. Now that means Jekyll has written this will himself. So I want you to have a little think about what is the purpose of a will and why is it very, very unusual for somebody to sit down and write it for themselves. The first main question I want us to focus on is this yellow one here at the top. How does Stevenson symbolise the will as troubling? Now, in order to do this, I've given you 3 tiny little pieces that I've extracted from Utterson's narration, and I want you to have a real focus on the language here for me. So firstly, it says, this document had long been the lawyer's eyesore. So I want you to think about that, what that metaphor could imply. And then Utterson's words, he says, I thought it was madness, he said, as he replaced the obnoxious paper in the safe. And now I begin to fear it is disgrace. So think very, very carefully for me. Why have we got these adjectives like madness, obnoxious, disgrace? And why is Utterson replacing the paper? Why is he keeping it in this safe? Why is he replacing it back in there? Why is he so keen to hide everything? And then this one in the green, it says, there he opened his safe, took from the most private part of it a document endorsed on the envelope as Dr. Jekyll's will, and he sat down with a clouded brow to study the contents. So why the clouded brow? Why have we got that real metaphorical language for something stormy, something dark, something concealed being placed on Utterson and being used to describe his reaction to simply taking Jekyll's will out of the safe? What is this really implying about this will that Jekyll's made for himself and the fact that he's given it to Utterson? Utterson's become the trustee with it, and how Utterson's going to feel about this in relation to Jekyll's character. Just a couple of other thoughts, just while we're thinking about how and why this will's being used. I want you to link it to the idea of the duality and the chaos that could be enshrouding Dr. Jekyll's character. We heard in chapter 2 that Lanyon said Jekyll had gone wrong in the mind, and then he wasn't really specific other than to say that Jekyll had been having some kind of unscientific balderdash. So Lanyon clearly doesn't like whatever Jekyll's been either proposing is possible or has been doing. He's very much dismissed it. So why have we got this description that is very much at odds with what we're about to see of Jekyll himself and also what we've already heard about him? So you've explored the will, you've realised why it might be troubling to Utterson, and now I want you to really focus on what we see from Jekyll's character in chapter 3. So the chapter title is Dr. Jekyll is quite at ease. So I want you to think about what that declarative is actually implying about Jekyll's character. Think about what the word ease means. Then I want you to look very, very carefully at how he's described physically. So look at his facial features and look at the way that he is being presented to the reader. Then look at the way that he reacts when he's discussing things with Utterson, in particular the different reactions. So how calm and casual he is until Utterson mentions the will and also Mr. Hyde, and then look at the physical description of how he reacts to that. So look at his face description and then focus on how he speaks. So he says to Utterson, he says, "The moment I choose, I can be rid of Mr. Hyde." So have a little think about the structure and the language within that sentence. And obviously I've said it in a very dramatic way because, well, you know that's me. But I'm saying it in that way to emphasise about Jekyll's character. So have a little think about how Jekyll is similar to Macbeth when it comes to duality, but also that hubris. For me, with the will and also the use of Lanyon's ideas and judgments before we even see Jekyll, it really just concludes for me that Jekyll is quite an arrogant but ambitious character. But you see what you can think and what you can find. And if you want to pop that into either a spider diagram, mind map, paragraph, however you want to present it, I don't mind. And if you want to email it over to me, and then I will email you back with any kind of amendments, corrections, or further thoughts. Okay? Hope you're keeping safe, people, and hope to see you soon. Take care.